wasn't supposed to be anywhere but my living room. A cracked whiskey glass, the glow of a TV, my life half finished. In a shoebox, a snow globe from my ex, a porcelain girl chasing a rabbit beneath frozen lakes. I shook it once, just to feel something move. The glass split, a hiss. The snow rose like smoke, wrapped my throat, and the room folded inward. I fell through a dark pulse of air that smelled of iron and mint. Then I landed. The ground was a path made of clock faces, ticking beneath my boots. Trees leaned in, their leaves shaped like playing cards. The moon hung too close, too bright, as if waiting to judge me. At a signpost of carved bone, the arrows whispered something in familiar voices. My father's, my ex's, my own. Bored, one purred in my tone. "Welcome to the Vale," said someone behind me. She sat on a sign like a cat. Dark hair, coat of midnight suede, mercury eyes that saw too much. "You can call me Sil," she said. "Short for silhouette or salvation. If you ruin yourself and survive it." "Miles," I responded, though she already knew. "The Vale reads you," she murmured. "Grief, desire, a tenderness you mistook for weakness. Good ingredients." I need to go back," I said. She smiled, then followed a whisper that calls itself home, or follow me. "I'm going to the heart." "What's there?" I inquire. "A queen," she said. "She gives answers that sound like sins, or kisses, sometimes both." I took her hand. Her touch hummed through mine like a secret. The forest deepened, black trunks, silver air. The wind carried laughter that wasn't kind. We found the tea table sprawling through the clearing, covering in kegs, knives, and cups that steamed with perfume and something darker. 2 women waited there. One had cropped hair and stitched hare's ears. Her grin was sharp, her dress short, her knife closer than comfort. The other was all curves and calm, a queen of decadence in crimson silk, curls threaded with card-shaped pins. "Sil, you brought a toy," said the hair-eared one. "A traveler," Sil replied. "Not a toy, unless he begs." "Does he beg?" the voluptuous one asked, smiling at me. "Not yet," Sil said. The woman in red patted the seat beside her. "Drink." The liquid was violet, the taste half memory, half surrender. "I'm Vesperin," she said, "and this is Morrow. We entertain wayward hearts." Sil explained. "He seeks the queen's favor." Morrow's eyes glittered. "Careful, traveler. Boons cost bones." "What would she take?" I asked. "Whatever makes you ache the most," Sil said softly. "She's fond of men who bleed beautifully." Vesperin traced the rim of my cup. "What do you want, Miles?" I thought of empty rooms and colder mornings. "To feel true," I said. That silenced him. Even the forest leaned in. Vesperin smiled slowly. Honesty is rare here. Amorous slid closer, straddling the bench beside me. Truth often begins with obedience. Do you like to obey? The question lit something in me I didn't know I'd buried. Sometimes, I whispered. Vesperin's lip curved. Then listen. They taught me with touch and patience how to want without apology, how to yield without vanishing. Morrow kissed me like a dare. Vesperin guided me like a prayer. Syl watched with the calm of someone who already knew the ending. I learned the language of stop, slow, and yes. When I whispered wool, they eased instantly. When I said more, they smiled and obeyed. It wasn't just lust, it was reclamation. My body no longer a ghost echo, but a vessel of choice. When release came, it wasn't collapse, but clarity. After, Vesperin brushed a kiss against my temple. The queen will like you, she murmured. You bleed truth. So rose. Time to meet her. The forest thinned. Marble replaced soil. A palace loomed ahead. Black ribs stitched with silver. Banners whispering thirst, oath, price, mercy. A woman waited at the base of the steps. The crown of thorns in her hair gleamed wetly. Her gown was white as a blade. Boughs of the brittle place, she said. Her voice was frost and honey. You seek something. I want to feel true, I said again. A worthy price, she said. Then I will take your dream of return. You may go back if you can, but you will never dream of home again. Do you accept? The offer settled inside me, like quiet. Yes. She touched my chest. Something light lifted from me, an old ache fluttering away. She pressed a black sigil into my wrist, a crown of thorns that pulsed with the warmth. You belong to the heart now, she said. Not mine. It's. I bowed. Understood. Then begin, the queen said. Unwind the clockwork prophet in the mire. He's been whispering endings he hasn't earned. Her eyes softened. And when you finally know what the truth feels like, don't lie to it. The veil notices. We left the palace. Syl took my hand again. The mire, she said, is where unsaid things sink, and where better lies learn to swim. The mark on my wrist throbbed like a heartbeat. Behind us, banners whispered. Ahead, the clocks ticked. And for the first time since I'd fallen through the glass, the word that rose in me wasn't lost. It was begin. The forest bled into fog. The air thickened, silver and slow, until each breath felt stolen from another mouth. The path of clocks ended where the ground began to breathe, a wet pulse under my boots. This is the mire, I asked. Syl nodded. Where truths sink until someone brave or foolish drags them up. Stay close. It likes to trade places with its guest. Shapes moved beneath the mist. Half-worn bodies, memories with faces. The smell was rain and musk and the sweet rot of forgotten love. We reached a lantern hung from a ribcage of brass. Aside it burned a soft living flame. Beside it stood a woman, or something that used to be one. Her skin gleamed like oil and water. Her eyes turned like clock hands behind glass. The prophet, so whispered. The woman smiled, and the mire rippled with emotion. Traveler, she said, voice layered like harmony. You carry the Queen's mark. What truth drags you here? I was told to find you, I said. Stop your whispers. She laughed, a sound that melted the fog around us. Then you must hear them first. The prophet stepped closer. Each movement left a shimmer in the air, as though she was half made of dream. She touched my chest, just above the sigil, and the mark burned warm. Your heart still remembers what it wants, she said. It beats for things you have not named. Her breath grazed my throat. The words themselves felt like touch. Images stirred in me. Hands, heat, the ache of being seen. I wasn't sure whether she was tempting me or showing me what I already carried. Careful, Syl murmured. She feeds on unfinished confessions. The prophet turned her eyes to Syl and smiled. And you, little shadow, feed on men who are still deciding whether to live. We are sisters, you and I. Syl stiffened, her hand brushing the hilt of her knife. Speak your prophecy and end this. The prophet ignored the threat. Miles, she said, my name drawn out like a sigh. The truth you seek isn't at the Queen's throne. It sleeps under her feet, chained to her heart. Free it, and the veil will change you or unmake you. Her lips brushed the air near my ear, a whisper shaped like a kiss. Will you unmake yourself to be true? I stepped back. If I must. She smiled, satisfied. The clockwork in her chest whirred faster, the sound of wings trapped in a jar. Then, without warning, she reached into her ribs and pulled out a silver key slick with light. She pressed it into my palm. For the gate beneath the Queen's Hall, she said. Every truth needs a door. Every door needs a price. The key pulsed once, then stilled. The prophet sank slowly into the mire, the fog swallowing her like water. Only the lantern remained, swinging in the quiet. Syl exhaled. She gave you a gift, or a curse. Hard to tell the difference here. I looked at the key. Its teeth were shaped like letters from no language I know. What does she mean? Unchain the truth. Syl's smile was small, almost human. It means the Queen's heart isn't what it seems. And if you open that gate, she'll notice. The fog thickened again, rising to our knees. Syl stepped closer, her voice lower now, her breath brushing my cheek. You're trembling, Miles. Not from fear, from remembering what it feels like to be touched by something that wants nothing but your honesty. She leaned in, eyes pale in the dark. Hold on to that. Desire and truth are made of the same fabric here. Her fingers lingered at my wrists, where the mark throbbed beneath the skin. Come, she said. Softer. The queen will feel the mire stirring. Let's see what she does when her prophet's key finds your hand. We left the fog behind. The lantern's lights followed us for a long time, then went out, leaving only the sound of ticking in the distance, slow, patient, and alive. As we walked back toward the palace, I realized the Vale wasn't just a place. It was a hunger that had learned to speak in the voices of the people I trusted. The Vale had changed its scent. The air no longer carried mist but heat, iron, cedar, and something faintly swayed. We were walking through the forest again, but the trees bent away from me as if listening. The key in my pocket beat against my thigh. A second pulse. Sale's hand brushed mine once, but not by accident. The look she gave me said nothing and everything. She felt the key's rhythm too. Does it hurt? She asked. It hums, I replied, like it wants to be used. Her gaze lingered on my mouth before she looked ahead. Magic always wants to be used. That's why it's dangerous. We stopped by a stream that glowed faintly from within, liquid starlight moving over black stones. Sil crouched to drink. The reflection of her face shimmered, then changed. My face looked back at her. She smirked. The Vale likes tricks. It also likes truth. And you keep hiding. She turned her head slowly, eyes silver in the dark. Do you really want to see what I hide, Miles? Yes, I said. For a heartbeat, she studied me as if weighing the risk. Then she slipped off one glove. Her band hand was covered in faint markings, lines that moved, glowing softly like veins of quicksilver. They are the Queen's doing, she said. Each one a promise I made and failed to keep. I reached for her hand, and the moment my skin touched hers, the markings flared brighter, spiraling up my arm. A surge of warmth flooded my chest. The key in my pocket answered with a pulse. She drew a sharp breath, but didn't pull away. You shouldn't be able to do that, she said. What did I just do? Share the vow, she whispered. The Queen binds her servants in words carved under the skin. You've just borrowed one. Can I give it back? Her laugh was low. Too late, she said. She sat on the moss, back against a tree, watching me with a new caution, as though I'd become something she might have to fight or protect. The Vale's faint light wrapped around us, a gentle shimmer like candle smoke. You asked what I hide, she said quietly. I was born of the Queen's shadow, part of her once. When she shed mercy, it took form. May. She calls me her reminder. And now you're guiding me to undo her, I said. Maybe I'm guiding you because I want to see what happens when someone finally does. We stay silent for a while. The forest made small, intimate sounds. Water breathing, leaves adjusting themselves, the tick of distant clocks. When I spoke, my voice was rougher than I meant. You make it hard to know if I should trust you. Then trust the way your pulse answers mine, she said. The body knows before the mind does. She leaned closer. The air between us felt charged, half threat, half invitation. Her fingers brushed my wrist where the thorn mark burned faintly. That mark binds you to the queen, she murmured. But the key, she pressed her palm against my chest, binds you to something older. It's changing already. You don't flinch anymore, she said. I hadn't noticed, but she was right. The fear that hung beneath every step since the snow globe shattered was quieter now. Instead, I felt a strange equilibrium, a calm edge with hunger. I think, she said softly, it's making you part of the Vale. And that means the queen won't be able to unmake you easily. Her thumb traced a line on my jaw. That's either salvation or a very beautiful doom. I caught her wrist. Which would you choose? Her lips curved. I'm still deciding. The moonlight turned her hair to metal. She was close enough that I could see the small scar at the corner of her mouth, the one imperfection that made her seem almost mortal. For a breath, the world narrowed to that point between us, danger and want braiding together. Then she drew back, standing in one smooth movement. Come, she said, voice steadier. The queen will feel the key's heartbeat soon. We should reach the old gates before she sends her dreams to fetch us. I rose. So, she looked over her shoulder. If I lose myself to this place, I said, find me. Her smile was almost kind. If I find you, you won't be lost anymore. We walked again, the path curling like smoke beneath our feet. The trees whispered in a tongue I was beginning to understand. Something about choice and how every desire is just another door. Ahead, the forest opened into a valley filled with silver mist. At its center stood a pair of gates made of glass and bone, bound by chains that pulsed faintly with light. As I approached, the key in my pocket burned against my leg like a living ember. So watched me, unreadable. Once you touch that lock, she said, you can't go back to being a guest. Maybe I don't want to be one, I said. The veil seemed to hold its breath, and when I pulled the key from my pocket, it hummed like a name being spoken for the first time. The gate stood open before I touched them. Mist curled around the hinges like breath. The chains had fallen away, links scattered like silver petals. Syl stopped beside me. The veil wants you inside, she said. That's never a mercy. I pushed the gates. They didn't creak. They sighed. Beyond lay a cavern made of light and bone. Ribs arched overhead like the inside of a god's chest. At its center, suspended in the air, hung a single heart. A crystal shot through, with veins of gold beating slow and heavy. Every pulse echoed in my body. The queen's heart, so whispered. The truth she hides. The key burned in my palm, begging. I looked at her. If I use it, she will feel it, and the veil will have to choose between breaking or changing. Her eyes were bright, weary, wanting. We could leave, she said softly, now before it knows what you carry, and live where, I responded. Syl didn't answer. I took her hand, feeling the warmth under her skin, the faint tremor she never allowed anyone to see. You told me the veil takes the shape of what we want. We can change it instead, I said. I stepped forward and pressed the key into the heart. Light fractured. The sound was not thunder, but breath, drawn in after years of silence. The cavern shuddered. Veins of gold spread outward, splitting the black crystal until it dissolved into motes of fire. The veil screamed, not in pain, but in awakening. The forest outside shifted, the sky softening from indigo to dawn. For the first time since I arrived, I saw color that didn't shimmer. It simply was. Syl sank to her knees. Her markings burned white, then faded. You unbounded, she said, voice breaking. You unbound me. The change caught her like wind. The silver in her eyes melted to human gray. She looked mortal, beautifully so. The queen appeared at the edge of the light, bareheaded now, her thorn crown in her hands. You have undone what I built, she said without anger. But perhaps it was time. She looked at Syl. I made you to carry my mercy. Now you may keep it for yourself. Her gaze turned to me. And you, Miles, you were meant to leave your grief here. Instead, you gave it shame. That's how worlds are born. She placed the crown at my feet. Take your truth and go. The veil will close behind you. I wanted to thank her, but the words tingled in my throat. She smiled faintly, then vanished like a reflection in disturbed water. We stood in a quiet aftermath. The air smelled of rain and clean stone. The ground beneath us felt solid, real. Syl touched her own wrist, where the sigil had been. No mark, she murmured. No leash. And you, she asked me, will you go back? I don't dream of home anymore. But maybe I can live it. This time. She stepped closer, the faintest smile at the corner of her mouth. You sound almost true. I kissed her. It wasn't desperate this time, or hungry. It was an ending that didn't erase what came before. When she pulled back, her eyes were bright with something softer than light. I'm staying, she said. Someone has to teach the veil how to be gentle. And if I ever find the way back, then it'll be because you wanted to, not because you were lost, she said. The mist gathered around her as she turned away, folds of silver swallowing her shape until only her voice remained. Go, Miles. The gates only open for the living now. I walked through them. The air changed. The smell of whiskey and dust returned. My living room. The snow globe still cracked on the table, but the flakes inside no longer moved. In the glass, I saw my reflection, and behind it, faint and far away, a woman with gray eyes, smiling like a secret. I didn't shake the globe. I let it rest. Outside, dawn had the same soft gold as the heart I freed. For the first time, I felt neither trapped nor saved. Just awake, and the pulse that moved through me was my own. You've just tasted a drop of the dark. Ready for more? Subscribe to Amorous Sanctum and let the shadows pull you deeper into a world of forbidden fantasy and wicked romance. Have a dark desire you love to see unfold? Whisper it in the comments. We adore your imagination. Until we meet again, don't be afraid to crave.